And I want to start by sharing a story that I've never shared on the podcast, and it's information about me that you don't know. And Naren, I don't believe you know this either. Um, I'm a pilot, and I started flying airplanes when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
I soloed on my 16th birthday. You have to be 16 years old to solo fly an airplane, and I soloed on my 16th birthday. Now, my influence and my interest in flight, I don't have any relatives that are pilots. You know, my dad wasn't a pilot, uncles weren't pilots, aunts, none. However, my influence was my mother. My mother was a flight attendant for Eastern Airlines. Now, back then, they weren't called flight attendants, they were called stewardesses.
All right.
She was a stewardess for Eastern Airlines, and she had an apartment with roommate situation with fellow co-workers who were also stewardesses. She had an apartment near LaGuardia Airport in New York, and also had another apartment in Chicago near O'Hare. And she was hubbed out of both Chicago and New York. And I remember being a little boy, my mother telling me all about her experience as a stewardess flying, and I believe that's what percolated my interest in becoming a pilot. And I started flying when I was 14 years old. I had to earn my flight hours. I had to earn the money to pay for an instructor and to rent an airplane and get those hours. And I had an amazing instructor. And the story I want to tell you applies to my first instructor. By the way, he was a Vietnam veteran and a Navy pilot, an incredible, probably the most talented pilot I've ever met, extremely talented. But I remember him telling me, I was 14 years old, he said, Gary, I hope that someday that you get to own your own airplane. And if you own your own airplane, you want to be very serious about maintenance on that plane. Because you want everything to be in top shape, and you do not want to fly shabby aircraft. If you notice, all the planes we fly as part of your training, they're always kept in top condition. And every piston-powered airplane at some point needs to have its engine overhauled. And typically that's at about 2,000 hours. And he said, what you want to do, because it's a fairly lofty expense, you don't want to wait until you get to 200 hours and then have to shell out this massive expense, because the last thing in the world you want to do is fly a plane where the motor isn't in great shape. Can you imagine that, Naren?
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah.
It's not like your car where if something's not going right, you just pull over to the side of the road.
Right.
If you're up there at 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 feet, and you have engine problems, you've got a serious problem. So he impressed upon me the importance of maintenance, but he also shared a quick tip. He said, Gary, here's what smart pilots do. Every hour, it's a 2,000 hour overhaul. They call it a TBO, to be overhauled. It's 2,000 hours of flight time. Every hour you fly, you want to put aside in a special bank account the total cost of that engine overhaul divided by 2,000 hours. So Naren, hypothetically, if that was to cost, I'll let you do the math. Let's say the overhaul was $40,000, and that's got to be spread over 2,000 hours. How much money do I have to put away every flight hour?
$200.
So is it 200? I think you got the decimal point wrong.
No, yeah. So you said 40.
It's at $40,000
Oh, okay. So
divided by 2,000 hours.
Yeah, $20.
Yeah. So every hour you fly, you have to put aside $20.
Right.
And if you just do that as you go, then when it's time to have the engine overhauled, you've already got the savings. So instead of being hit by a $40,000 bill that's a surprise to you,
Yeah.
you simply budget for it in advance. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense, Gary. Yeah.
So here's the dental adaptation to that. Every month, doctor, put aside a certain percent of your collections as your technology budget. Put aside a certain percent. And Naren, I'm going to suggest that percent be around 3%.
Got it.
Around 3% every month.
So $1 million practice is 30,000 a year or 2,500 a month.
$2,500 a month. So every month, we simply take $2,500 out of our operating bank account for the practice and put it into your technology savings account. 3% of your collections, whatever it was that month. Just like if I fly, I'm going to take $20 every hour and put it aside for that future overhaul that is going to be coming. It's coming. So think about the power of that. Thriving practices, Aaron, continually invest in technology. Continually invest in technology. It's some dentists think it's a one and done thing, but that is not the case. That is not the case, because there's always something coming down the road that you want to invest in. There's always something you want to add to your practice. Sometimes it's new and great and exciting, and sometimes it's routine, but it's something that you want to add to your practice. But the point that I want to make is thriving dentists are always investing in technology. It's not one and done. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to us saying I subscribed. Most importantly, be sure to click the bell button, which means you'll be subscribed so you won't miss out on any future videos.